500 Facts About War, Part 1, 100. 1. War does not ask if you are ready. 2. It simply arrives. 3. Most often at night. 4. Or early in the morning. 5. When the mind is still asleep. 6. The first sound stays forever. 7. You don't understand what it was. 8. But your body already knows. 9. Your heart reacts before your thoughts. 10. Instinct wakes up first. 11. Panic does not look like in movies. 12. It is quiet. 13. It lives inside. 14. It tightens your chest. 15. And it does not scream. 16. You begin to listen differently. 17. To distance and direction. 18. Up or down. 19. Safe or dangerous. 20. Silence or pause. 21. Silence becomes suspicious. 22. Loudness feels safer. 23. Because you are still alive. 24. Because it means it continues. 25. Because it is not the end. 26. Time stops being equal. 27. A minute can last an hour. 28. A day feels like a second. 29. A week becomes a dream. 30. A month becomes another life. 31. Sleep becomes shallow. 32. Short. 33. Broken. 34. Without dreams. 35. Or with the same ones. 36. Waking up is scarier than not sleeping. 37. Because you don't know what will happen. 38. But you know something will. 39. And that is enough. 40. To stay tense. 41. Food loses its taste. 42. It becomes function. 43. Fuel. 44. Necessity. 45. Not pleasure. 46. Water matters more than money. 47. Light more than internet. 48. Warmth more than news. 49. Silence more than answers. 50. And life more than being right. 51. You start valuing small things. 52. A cup of tea. 53. Dry socks. 54. Closed doors. 55. Flat ground. 56. People around become family. 57. Even strangers. 58. Even those you disliked. 59. Even those you didn't trust. 60. There is no choice. 61. Someone becomes a leader. 62. Someone takes responsibility. 63. Someone stays quiet. 64. Someone carries fear. 65. Every role is real. 66. You see people clearly. 67. Without filters. 68. Without status. 69. Without masks. 70. Without excuses. 71. Heroes don't talk much. 72. They act. 73. They get tired. 74. They stay silent. 75. And move on. 76. Fear never disappears. 77. It changes shape. 78. Becomes background noise. 79. Becomes familiar. 80. And that is dangerous. 81. Getting used to it is worse than explosions. 82. Because reactions fade. 83. Pain dulls. 84. Boundaries blur. 85. Humanity is at risk. 86. Children grow quiet. 87. Play softer. 88. Grow up faster. 89. And remember longer. 90. Than they should. 91. Elderly become fragile. 92. Not physically. 93. Inside. 94. Because they've seen this before. 95. And never wanted it again. 96. Laughter becomes rare. 97. But when it appears, it is real. 98. Without irony. 99. Without masks. 100. Proof you are alive. Part 2, 101, 200. 101. Survival is not heroic. 102. It looks dirty. 103. Exhausted. 104. And often shameful. 105. Because you lived and others didn't. 106. Guilt comes uninvited. 107. It is illogical. 108. Unfair. 109. But real. 110. And heavy. 111. You remember details. 112. Who you didn't call. 113. Who you didn't hug. 114. Who you didn't answer. 115. Who you didn't reach. 116. Death is not always instant. 117. Or loud. 118. It can be quiet. 119. Invisible. 120. And therefore scarier. 121. The body remembers more than the mind. 122. It reacts first. 123. Faster. 124. Sharper. 125. Without explanation. 126. Hands shake without reason. 127. Heartbeats lose rhythm. 128. Breath breaks. 129. Eyes search for exits. 130. Even in safety. 131. You stop trusting calm. 132. Because it betrayed you before. 133. Because worse followed. 134. Because silence lies. 135. And you know it. 136. Night becomes the hardest time. 137. No distractions. 138. Thoughts grow louder. 139. Memory stays awake. 140. While you don't. 141. Dreams bring you back. 142. Without filters. 143. Without editing. 144. Without mercy. 145. Again and again. 146. You wake before alarms. 147. Because the body expects danger. 148. Even when there is none. 149. Even in peace. 150. Even at home. 151. Home stops being a place. 152. It becomes a feeling. 153. Temporary. 154. Fragile. 155. Unsafe. 156. Things lose value. 157. Photos don't. 158. Voices don't. 159. Memory doesn't. 160. It weighs more than luggage. 161. You begin to hate news. 162. But cannot stop reading. 163. Because answers live there. 164. Or hope. 165. Or fear confirmed. 166. Every message is a risk. 167. Every call is tension. 168. Every pause is panic. 169. Every did you see hurts. 170. Your nervous system. 171. Time does not heal. 172. It only dulls. 173. Hides. 174. Masks. 175. But never erases. 176. Memories return suddenly. 177. Through sound. 178. Smell. 179. A word. 180. A tone. 181. You learn to live with it. 182. Not after. 183. But together. 184. With pain. 185. With memory. 186. Strength is not fearlessness. 187. It is moving despite fear. 188. Daily. 189. Slowly. 190. Without applause. 191. No one leaves war unchanged. 192. Even those far away. 193. Even those who didn't see. 194. Even those who read. 195. It touches everyone. 196. Survival is only the beginning. 197. Living on is harder. 198. But possible. 199. Step by step. 200. Breath by breath. Part 3. 201. 300. 201. Returning is not a finish line. 202. It is another start. 203. Without instructions. 204. Without guarantees. 205. Carrying weight. 206. People expect you to be the same. 207. But before no longer exists. 208. It stayed there. 209. Under explosions. 210. Between silences. 211. You try to smile. 212. Laugh. 213. Joke. 214. But it takes effort. 215. More than it seems. 216. Normal things irritate you. 217. Small problems feel fake. 218. Complaints feel unbearable. 219. Because you saw reality. 220. Comparison is inevitable. 221. You distance yourself. 222. Even from kind people. 223. Even from loved ones. 224. A gap appears. 225. Invisible but real. 226. You speak less. 227. Explaining is exhausting. 228. Words are not enough. 229. Reactions scare you. 230. And them. 231. Silence after war is different. 232. Not empty. 233. Filled. 234. With memory. 235. With tension. 236. The body still lives in war. 237, even if the mind doesn't. 238, reflexes remain. 239, hidden. 240, waiting. 241, a loud sound pulls you back. 242, instantly. 243, without permission. 244, without warning. 245, without choice. 246, you value simple life. 247, but cannot enjoy it. 248, because tension remains. 249, because you stay alert. 250, even in safety. 251, survivor's guilt stays. 252, it changes form. 253, becomes background. 254, becomes shadow. 255, but doesn't leave. 256, you ask why me? 257, without answers. 258, again. 259, in different nights. 260, for years. 261, some escape into work. 262, some into alcohol. 263, some into silence. 264, some into isolation. 265, everyone searches for a way to survive again. 266, accepting help is harder than giving it. 267, because you learn to hold alone. 268, weakness feels dangerous. 269, trust feels expensive. 270, hard to allow. 271, you slowly learn to live differently. 272, not better. 273, not worse. 274, just different. 275, with new limits. 276, parts of you stayed there. 277, they won't return. 278, but new ones appeared. 279, stronger. 280, deeper. 281, peace is also a challenge. 282, it requires letting go. 283, learning to breathe slowly. 284, learning not to expect impact. 285, learning to live. 286, 286, not everyone copes the same. 287, and that is normal. 288, speed differs. 289, paths differ. 290, pain is similar but not equal. 291, sometimes war felt simpler. 292, everything was clear. 293, now it isn't. 294, now you must live. 295, and that is harder. 296, but you continue. 297, even without knowing how. 298, even when tired. 299, because you learned not to stop. 300, and that is also war. Part 4, 301, 400. 301, anger does not disappear. 302, it hides. 303, waits. 304, for weakness. 305, for silence. 306, sometimes you are angry without reason. 307, but the reason exists. 308, deep. 309, beneath control. 310, and habit. 311, war teaches hardness. 312, without asking. 313, shapes character. 314, breaking softness. 315, breaking trust. 316, some words become empty. 317, everything will be fine. 318, stay strong. 319, time heals. 320, they stop working. 321, you value honesty. 322, even painful. 323, even rough. 324, because fake is obvious. 325, and irritating. 326, war kills illusions. 327, of justice. 328, control. 329, safety. 330, how things should be. 331, but clarity appears. 332, who stays. 333, who leaves. 334, what matters. 335, what doesn't. 336, some relationships don't survive. 337, it hurts. 338, but it's honest. 339, they were shallow. 340, war revealed it. 341, loneliness feels different. 342, deeper. 343, quieter. 344, more constant. 345, like a shadow. 346, you learn to be with yourself. 347, not always willingly. 348, but necessarily. 349, there is nowhere to run. 350, and it's a lesson. 351, meaning of life changes. 352, simpler. 353, and heavier. 354, live. 355, and not betray yourself. 356, you stop chasing excess. 357, status. 358, noise. 359, expectations. 360, because you saw the end. 361, memory becomes responsibility. 362, not burden. 363, not curse. 364, duty. 365, to the absent. 366, you carry them inside. 367, in words. 368, in choices. 369, in silence. 370, in principles. 371, war leaves marks. 372, not only on land. 373, but in people. 374, forever. 375, without expiration. 376, war can't take everything. 377, unless you allow it. 378, if you remember. 379, if you live. 380, despite it. 381, strength is staying soft inside. 382, even if hard outside. 383, even in pain. 384, even in fear. 385, especially then. 386, war shapes survivors. 387, but doesn't define them fully. 388, it's a choice. 389, daily. 390, conscious. 391, you have the right to live well. 392, even after. 393, even with memory. 394, even with pain. 395, it's not betrayal. 396, life after war is continuation. 397, not forgetting. 398, not escape. 399, but response. 400 to it. Part 5, 401, 500. 401, after war you see life differently. 402, not wider. 403, deeper. 404, slower. 405, honest. 406, you know the value of morning. 407, when you wake. 408, when it's quiet. 409, when no one screams. 410, and that's enough. 411, you begin to protect yourself. 412, not from ego. 413, from understanding. 414, you can be lost. 415, like anyone. 416, life stops feeling endless. 417, and that gives it value. 418, every day is limited. 419, every talk may be last. 420, you remember that. 421, you postpone less. 422, words. 423, hugs. 424, apologies. 425, because you know the cost. 426, war teaches responsibility for life. 427, yours. 428, others. 429, past. 430, future. 431, memory is not weight. 432, it's connection. 433, between those who were. 434, and those who will be. 435, if we remember. 436, forgetting is a second defeat. 437, quiet. 438, invisible. 439, final. 440, dangerous. 441, living on is resistance. 442, not with weapons. 443, but with memory. 444, with truth. 445, with responsibility. 446, you don't have to be strong always. 447, but you must stay alive. 448, for yourself. 449, for the lost. 450, for those to come. 451, war doesn't define meaning. 452, it exposes it. 453, leaves only essential. 454, without noise. 455, without excess. 456, peace is a process. 457, not a state. 458, not a word. 459, daily work. 460, inside. 461, the hardest victory is over indifference. 462, over fatigue. 463, over numbness. 464, over forgetting. 465, because it's easier. 466, easier isn't right. 467, remembering hurts. 468, living hurts more. 469, but it's the only way. 470, that matters. 471, war ends not with silence. 472, but when people protect life. 473, instead of hating it. 474, consciously. 475, truly. 476, you deserve happiness. 477, even if you survived. 478, even if you remember. 479, even if it hurts. 480, it's not betrayal. 481, life is the answer. 482, daily. 483, quiet. 484, persistent. 485, human. 486, you don't need perfection. 487, being alive is enough. 488, remember. 489, don't betray meaning. 490, you found. 491, war takes much. 492, but not everything. 493, while you live. 494, while you remember. 495, while you choose life. 496, this is not the end. 497, it's continuation. 498, without illusions. 499, with responsibility. 500, to live.